Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. So our previous video was a match week 1 review, the return of the terrorists with Arteta. This week, not this week, but basically this is going to become a little bit formulaic, where it's going to be a review, prediction, and then some different type of videos in between, like topics I want to talk about. So we're gonna go over some games from this weekend on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We're gonna start with West Ham versus Chelsea. If you want to know my thoughts on some of the teams, just go watch the other video. So West Ham versus Chelsea tomorrow. Chelsea held to a 0-0 draw versus Crystal Palace in a game they probably should have won at the end, but whatever. And West Ham United completely destroyed. Listen, I told you about this guy, Graham Potter. Tuchel 2.0. He's actually worse because he doesn't win. The projected lineups are here. I think this is pretty accurate. I believe this is pretty accurate. I think Neto will start on the left. Yeah. Chempong. Okay. In my prediction, I'm going to go 3-1 Chelsea. I think Chelsea wins this match. I think they get off and get their season, really started. They have a couple of easy fixtures coming up. Is this a must-win for Chelsea? No. I think, with all the respect, them getting off to a slow start for the first 8 games of the season, I wouldn't be surprised. Not just because of the Club World Cup, but because of the new players and them having to change the way they play and adapt. I also believe that a formation change might be required to really unlock this team into a 4-3-3 in order to press higher up the pitch. We shall see. I don't believe West Ham posed that much of a threat. Just as long as Chelsea are organized, West Ham won't create too many chances. Palace specifically in the second half didn't do much. In the air, West Ham has some difficulty. Something to watch out for is the near post corners for Chelsea. They could score off of those. They did win a decent amount of headers against Crystal Palace, actually, who's a really good team in the air. But I'm going to go 3-1 Chelsea. Expect Cole Palmer to get on the score sheet. And also, I believe Liam Delap coming off the bench could score. This would actually be a game I would start Delap over João Pedro because they're going to sit so far back, in my opinion. I'd rather start Delap. But as for this game, I think it's Chelsea 3, West Ham 1. Pretty solid game for the Blues. Next game, we have Bundesliga. Bayern München versus RB Leipzig. Could be Simmons' last game. Probably is Simmons' last game. Of course, the injuries of Alphonso Davies, Jamal Musiala, Ito, even Tom Bischoff. I was really excited to see how he'd play if you watched my Bayern review or squad overview. I think this is going to be not a tough game for Bayern. I think they'll create chances. I just think that it will be close, but it won't be a close. Bayern will be in control of the match, is what I'm trying to say. They'll keep it close, Leipzig. They have some good players. Watch out for Nusa, the guy who made an instant impact for Norway when he came on against Italia in the World Cup qualifiers, if I'm not mistaken. Seawald, a good player. Lukeba, fantastic young center back, which seems... Leipzig's French recruiting at center back. Upamecano, Konote, Lukeba, it's absolutely fantastic. I'm going to go 2-1 Bayern. Expect Kane to be on the score sheet here. They'll give them some problems. I think Leipzig, like I said, they will score. I don't like that defense from Munich. I don't think it's good enough. I think they'll be able to play out from the back against them, but ultimately it won't be enough. I also don't like seeing Olise in the middle of the pitch. I'd rather see him on the right. I know Musiala isn't playing, but they have some different players that they could play there, like their young player, if I'm not mistaken. Let me please go to their team, go to their squad. I mispronounced his name last time. Leonard Carl. I think you could play him down the middle and keep Olise on the right. But that's just my opinion. This is a farmers league, so Bayern can do whatever the fuck they want because it's a joke and they'll probably still end up winning if they throw fucking... I don't know. You could put Philip Lam over there. They'll still fucking win. 2-1 Bayern. We'll go to PSG. PSG had a tough game versus Nantes. 1-0 victory. Heavily rotated squad. He's going to play most of his big boys. Specifically, this is their first game at home after winning the treble in league play. Expect my boy Barcola to get on the score sheet. Now, they say Kvaratskhelia is starting. I don't think so. I think Barcola is going to start. I believe Barcola will start, and he'll throw Dua into the midfield and drop one of Vitinha, João Neves, or Ruiz. I think they'll win pretty comfortably. 3-0. Just going through the motions. Zabanya still not going to start. I understand that. They're predicting him not to start. I get that. But yeah, I think this is going to be a pretty easy walk in the park. Andres does not pose them much of a threat. Nobody in Liga really poses them a threat other than Monaco. But yeah, moving onwards towards Saturday. First game we're going to go over is Barcelona versus Levante. Now, Barcelona had an interesting game last week. So the squad, predicted squad isn't out yet. They had an interesting game last week against Mallorca, a couple red cards. You know, a lot of the rat fans in La Liga, specifically Real Madrid fans, saying the game was rigged. You're having a laugh. These fucking rats over there in Madrid calling about rigged. Go ask Bayern Munich what's rigged. Just go ask them what's rigged. Go ask them what happens in Europe every time they play Madrid. Rats. No Lewandowski. I think this game is going to be close. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think they'll be in control of the match, though. Levante will get a couple of chances. But in the end, I think it's not going to be a walk in the park, but it's going to be a pretty easy game for them, which I guess is a walk in the park, so what the fuck am I talking about? 2-0. Expect Rafinha to get on the score sheet, in my opinion. 2-0 Barcelona, and they continue their fantastic form. Notice 3 clean sheets. I know this was a friendly game. I understand that, but it's much better. Defensively, it's looking better. Next game is Manchester City versus Spurs. This is a weird one because Tottenham is going to be much more organized than they were under Ange Postecoglou, especially in league play. It's going to be a really close game, akin to that of the final match between these two teams in 2024. The match will be played in City. I think the Etihad is going to be rocking, ready to play noon time over there in Manchester. I think Spurs are going to keep it close. I think it's going to be a tough game, but 2-1 Manchester City. Expect Haaland to get on the score sheet. Look at all these injuries, man. Jesus Christ. Wow. Everybody, Phil Foden is not that much of a miss, to be honest with you. Josko Gvardio, would have been interesting to see him go up against Mohamed Kudus. Unfortunately, we can't get that, and Echeverri is in Leverkusen now. So I think Manchester City wins. I think they'll be set up well enough to win. But I think Tottenham will give them a tough challenge. 2-1, Manchester City. Now, this is an interesting game I picked. Burnley versus Sunderland. The battle of the two promoted teams. Sunderland with a massive win in the Stadium of Light. It was a fantastic moment. 3-0 against shitty, dog shit, Tuchel West Ham. Burnley, on the other hand, absolutely rocked by Tottenham. Kudos to assists. Richarlison looking like he's fucking R9 against them. Not looking good for Burnley, especially after they lost Trafford. I think this is going to be a fun matchup. I think this is going to be a back and forth matchup. But ultimately, it's going to end in a draw. 1-1. Expect a penalty. I don't know who's going to get one. One of these teams is going to get a penalty, in my opinion. Armando Broja, lack of fitness doubtful. Buddy, I don't even know why the fuck you bought him, but thank you for the money. 1-1, Burnley versus Sunderland. Good point for Sunderland. Well, actually, I think you'd want to beat Burnley. But I'm going to go 1-1. If you look at their head-to-head over the last championship season, 0-0, 1-0, really close matchups. I think this is going to be pretty similar to those type of games, but a little bit more electrifying. There's a little bit more pump in the game, considering it's Burnley's first game back in the Premier League at Turf Moor. Arsenal versus Leeds. Now, a lot of people expected more from Arsenal against Manchester United. I didn't, because I have eyes. And as you know, I put Arteta in the Tuchel category for managers. That was not by mistake. The guy, Calafiori, scored a goal. And Arteta attributed to his aura as to the reason why he scored. This team is fucked. This manager is retarded. Kai Havertz is out. Why is Kai Havertz out a big deal? He improves their pattern of play significantly compared to Gyökeres. Is that Gyökeres' fault? No. Is it Arteta's fault? Yes, because Arteta's retarded and he doesn't know how to change the team to better suit Gyökeres. With that being said, I like Leeds here. I think they're going to be dangerous, but I don't think they have enough. I think they'll get a couple of chances. They won't be able to convert them, leading to Arsenal just slowly draining the game. I'm going to go a 2-0 Arsenal win. Don't expect Gyökeres to get on the score sheet, by the way. Not the way they play. Saka. Expect a goal from Saka today on that right-hand side. Not today, but Saturday. Trash-ass Arteta. Next game, we move to Leverkusen versus Hoffenheim. I'm going all over the place. Eric 10 Holocaust. Eric 10 Holocaust. I think that's a good name. Eric Taliban. What was his terrorist name? Shit, I gotta write these down so I don't forget him. First game for Leverkusen. Well, they played the DFK Pokal Cup earlier, 4-0 victory. But first Bundesliga game against Hoffenheim, who were one spot off relegation last year in a terrible season. This is going to be an interesting game. I think Hoffenheim, they're not here to make a statement. Let me put that out there. But I think they're going to play well. I don't think Leverkusen is set up well enough. I don't like what I'm seeing from Ten Hag or this team. They just sold Victor Boniface. Matter of fact, I expected him to score in this game because he does like putting in a goal against Hoffenheim. But he's off to Milan for 25 million. Decent amount of money. I think they could have sold him for more, but whatever. They could have sold him more to Saudi at the start of January, but they didn't. Just to, get bounced out of every round of every competition. But, I digress. I think this is going to be 2-2. I think this is going to be 2-2. I don't think Leverkusen are going to look convincing. And I think it's going to make it very clear that this Bundesliga season, the only team that has a chance of beating Bayern München is Borussia Dortmund. But 2-2, I think it's going to be a decent game. But I don't see Leverkusen doing much. I just don't see them being as good as they need to be. And I think this game is going to be a good indicator as to why they won't challenge for the title. They'll make it to the top four. They'll make it to Champions League. Don't get that mistaken. But I think Hoffenheim come up, they show up, and they put in a good performance. I'm going to go 2-2. St. Pauli versus Dortmund. St. Pauli with a fantastic year last year to stay up after losing their manager, Heuler, to Brighton. I think Dortmund win this match. 3-1. Gurasi. Expect them to get on the score sheet. It's pretty simple. Their attacking prowess is just too good. Defensively, yeah, St. Pauli will be able to get at them. I think they'll score a goal. But in the end, I think Borussia Dortmund's attacking prowess is just too good. They look to be a little bit better defensively. Not that much better defensively. And, I think it's just a good performance from Dortmund. We'll get the win. Nothing special. 3-1. Moving on to Serie A, Napoli versus Sassuolo. Sassuolo just got promoted from Serie B. Of course, Napoli with that fantastic first season from Conte. First Serie A game. First competitive game for Kevin De Bruyne and all the new signings. Luca and all the boys to Napoli. Noah Lang. I think this is 1-1. I think this is going to be a little bit of a wake-up call for Napoli. I don't like what I've been seeing from Napoli in the preseason. Defensively, interesting. Offensively, good. But I don't like what I'm seeing. I think Berardi scores for Sassuolo. Absolute legend of the club. I think it's 1-1 away from home. It'd be a pretty dull game. I don't know. This is Conte's second year. And if you know anything about Conte's second years, they usually fall the fuck off. So I'm not predicting that because I do have Napoli winning the Serie A, but I think there's going to be a couple moments early in the season which sets the tone as to they need to step it the fuck up if they actually want to repeat. You're not hunting anymore, you're the hunted. I think this Sassuolo game will be one of those. 1-1. And we move to Roma versus Bologna. Bologna winning the Coppa Italia, an amazing feat. I think it was their first trophy in 80 plus years. Roma with Gasperini, tremendous amount of buzz around the team with all their new signings, all their new players, fantastic young talent in Sule. Of course, this is an interesting team that a lot of people have finishing in the top 4. My bad, my apologies. With a fantastic goalkeeper. Where is he? Madre mia, I forgot. I think it was Silvar. But Sule I picked him as the young player of the year for Serie A. And I'm looking at this game. I think it's going to be a lights out game. I'm going 3-2 Roma. Expect Sule to get on the score sheet. Oh, they got Leon Bailey as well on loan. But expect Sule to get on the score sheet. I'm going 3-2 Roma over Bologna. Moving on to France. Madre mia. Yeah, France. Sorry, I put down on my notepad Paris versus Marseille, and I got confused. I was like, wait a minute, didn't I do PSG? The reason why I picked this game is because Marseille, a couple of racismo, a lot of racism going on in that club. Not surprised by the French, of course. You know, I'm American. I know about the racist shit over here too. Just look at our government at the current moment. Nothing to be proud of. But Rabiot, Rome, get in an argument. Rome probably calls him the N-word considering how... Or not Rome. Rabiot probably calls him the N-word. Now, this isn't confirmed, but if I had to take a guess, knowing this fucker, he complained to Pogba. Remember in the Euros in 2021, his parents were complaining to Pogba's parents as well. This guy is a fucking prick. I don't know how he keeps getting jobs at these pretty big clubs. He's shit. He's one of the worst players I've ever seen. I don't know why. He's Ruben Loftus-Cheek, but French. I swear. This racist motherfucker, he's trash. De Zerbi says, get the fuck out of my club. De Zerbi, on the other hand, is basically verbally abusing players half the time in January, forcing one of the players to leave. I forget who it was. I'm going to go search it up. Okay? I don't know what the fuck is going on in Marseille. And then not only that, we also have to add the fact that they keep fucking bringing in sexual offenders. Where is that fucker? This is an insane thing. This guy. They got a racist in Rabiot, and they have a rapist in Mason Greenwood. What the fuck am I watching with this team, man? What is this team? I fully expect De Zerbi to be gone after this year. They lost to Rennes, of course, on the weekend. With that being said, I'm going 2-0 2-0 Marseille and expect my boy, where is he? Amin to get on the score sheet. Marseille's got some fucking problems, man. They really do have some problems. All right, moving on to Sunday. All right. We're going to start off with Real Oviedo versus Real Madrid. Real Madrid did not look convincing yesterday. And I'm filming this on a Thursday. They played on Tuesday, my apologies. They did not look convincing. Like I said before, their progression through the midfield is horrendous. It's something they lost when Toni Kroos left. I just don't see it with them. You know, he drops Tchouaméni sometimes in between the center halves. There's nobody to really cross the ball into. So when you're playing against low blocks, what are you going to do with Trent, huh? Who's he crossing the ball to? Fucking Mbappe? Now, if they want to balance out the team, you put Mbappe on the left. You put Trent on the right. You put Gonzalo... what the fuck is that guy's name? Who's that guy who did well for Real Madrid? Gonzalo Gomez? Gonzalo Garcia, excuse me. The striker. And you just put him in the middle. As soon as he came on, he attacked the ball into the box and won a header. And then you just put Rodrigo on the right or Arda Güler. But I'd rather have Rodrigo because I think he's better at rotating and actually scoring goals other than Arda Güler. And they started Franco Mastantuono over Rodrigo, which is hilarious to me. Considering the fact that I wouldn't even put that much belief in Xabi Alonso yet, considering how last season was. and some of the decisions he made during the Club World Cup. But that's just me. You know, I think Mbappe in the start of the season is going to have to do a lot. I think Real Madrid win 2-0. It's going to be tough like it was against Osasuna. They'll get the job done. 2-0, Mbappe. Expect him to be on the score sheet. But I don't like what I'm seeing. I don't like what I'm seeing. They don't have the players to fit this system either. They don't have midfielders. Camavinga can't progress the ball. Tchouameni sometimes, but he lacks in other departments. I don't know what the fuck they're doing. But 2-0, Madrid, they get the job done for now. We go back to the Premier League, Fulham versus Manchester United. Interesting matchup. It's going to be a fun game. I believe it's going to be a 2-2 matchup. Expect Cunha to get on the score sheet. My prediction for this match is 2-2. I think Manchester United is still vulnerable defensively at teams hitting them in transition. You saw that against Arsenal, but Arsenal couldn't, capitalize on it because their players are actually retarded. And they're not used to countering and playing on the break in transition, so the spacing wasn't the best. Also, they're getting used to Gyökeres. I think Cunha will do well in this match. I think Mbeumo might do decent. I think Sesko will start. But I think their midfield is just going to get ran through on the breaks. I don't like their midfield at all. I said it was the biggest problem. They want to break the bank for Baleba. Brian aren't willing to let him go yet. And they went ahead and bought 3 attackers instead of... I wouldn't have bought Mbeumo. I would have bought Sesko and Cunha. And I would have played Amad Diallo up top for now. And I would have got the midfielder. But they're stupid. It's United. They're retarded. So it is what it is. And I think because of that, they'll be a little bit too light in the midfield to stop quick transition attempts from Fulham. Of course, they'll stop it sometimes. But you don't need to do it every time to score. Duh. And I think not Everton. I was watching the scores on the bottom. But I think Fulham will get 2 as well. But expect Cunha to be on the score sheet. 2-2 for this matchup. It's going to be a fun game. Next match, we're going to go to the Serie A. Lazio versus Como. Como with a lot of expectations. Maybe some of it overblown. They've spent well. They have a lot of good players. Lazio... looking good as well. Had a decent year last year. Of course, they lost to Bodo Glimt in the fucking Europa League or whatever. I think this is going to be an interesting matchup. But overall, I like Como here. I think they have better players. I think they're going to be set up better. And expect Hassan Diao to get on the score sheet. I'm going to go 3-1 Como here. And they're going to start the campaign off on the front foot. I wouldn't call this a statement win, even though I think Lazio are decent. But it's a good one. It's one that people will start watching. They'll start keeping an eye on these guys to see what they can do. Now, is top 4 in the mix? Maybe. I expect top 6. But 3-1, Como. Moving on to Juventus versus Parma. Of course, you have Tudor. And Parma's manager, I forget who it is. Why is it so hard to just look up? I'm clicking on the team name and they take me to the table. Oh. Coach Carlos Cuesta. All right. They just lost their center back Leoni. I like Parma. I think they'll do decent this year. I think Juventus will do decent this year. Tudor will keep the floor of the team pretty high. I think it's going to be I'm hesitant to say tactical game, but a slow game. Juventus will get a goal. I believe it will be Yildiz with a nice goal cutting in from the left. 1-0, clean sheet. They do the job. And I would say it looks convincing. I wouldn't say it's, a tough 1-0 where they're conceding chances and they get lucky. No, I think it's going to be convincing. I think they'll create just enough. They'll get the job done. And then move on to the next match. Lille versus Monaco. Now, Lille had a 3-3 matchup against Brest, which was a fantastic game that we went over. I told you fuckers to watch it. You should go watch the highlights. Monaco played Le Havre. Did a really good job against them as well. This is going to be a hell of a game. You should watch this game. I don't know where the fuck you're watching this from, where the people watching my videos are from. Check out this game if you can't watch the highlights, because it's going to be fun. Two really fun teams that have no idea how to fucking defend. Specifically Lille. They can't defend worth a shit. Their fullbacks are ass. Expect... Let me see if I can pronounce this shit right. Eklushi. Ekluche? Eklioshi. I hope I said that right. Let me right here. Akelushi. Menes. You know what? I should just say Menes. Expect him to get on the score sheet. Lille's fullbacks, they can't fucking defend. Worth a shit. I mean, they're bad. This guy will get his opportunities. I believe away from home, Monaco, who are my number 2 in Ligue 1, is going to win 2-1. Akelushi on the score sheet. Jesus, Pogba's still not healthy. When the fuck is this guy going to actually play football? But I expect Monaco to win 2-1. In a fun game, shout out Giroud. And then our final game to go after, this is because I'm a Chelsea fan, Blueco, Strasbourg versus Nantes. I did not like what I saw from Strasbourg against Metz and Mainz, but they're defensively much more sound than last year to start off the year. I think this is a 1-1 matchup against Nantes, especially how Nantes played against PSG. I think it'll be a really tough breakdown. I'll go 1-1. Yeah, simple as that. That's the breakdown. I was about to say it was a pretty quick video, and then I look over, it's 26 fucking minutes. All right. Now, one last thing. I'm hoping to God Chelsea wins, man. Please, Chelsea win. Fuck Arsenal. Fuck Madrid. Fuck them all, please. Thank you for watching. Hopefully I'm right.